Hi, everybody. I'm Tash,
And I'm Damo.
and we are so excited to bring you this week's episode of the Barry Chronicles. Sponsored by costpricesupplements.com.au, supporting your bariatric journey with trusted nutrition, vitamins, and protein options. Use code GASTRIC175 for up to 17% off your order.
Tash, I'm so glad to be finally recording just you and me again.
I know, Damo. And here I am drinking my my protein shake. And it feels like we're finally getting back into some kind of normality.
Yeah, it does.
You think?
Yeah, it's been a long journey, and it's something that we haven't really sort of gone that deep into.
Yeah, we haven't.
So I was thinking today, now that we're sort of coming to getting back into normality, let's chat about it because the last couple of years has been a massive emotional roller coaster for
Yeah,
both
it
of
really
us.
has. Yeah. I agree. I think sitting behind our bariatric surgery obviously is our lives, and we share very freely our bariatric journeys. We always have. We've shared them authentically and honestly, and certainly don't pull any punches when it comes to all of the things that we've been going through in regards to our journey with our weight loss surgeries. However, obviously we have lives as well, and we have people in those lives. We have people that we love. We have our families, and over the last 18 months, our mum has died from cancer,
Yeah,
and it's been the most harrowing time for us. And we will obviously preface this by saying if you are triggered by talk of loss, we understand. And we really do respectfully invite you to not listen to this episode. We
yeah,
we know that talk of loss can be really triggering, but it's also for us, it's woven into our story. It's a part of our story. And I don't feel like I would be able to continue chatting on the Barry Chronicles unless we actually do share this.
yeah, yeah. It's something that has certainly been a weight over us
Yeah.
for some time, and I think we're both the same in that there's stuff that happens in our family that we do keep separate from our public lives. But
100% we do.
now that we've come to the sort of a new chapter, I suppose.
Well, the end, and it's okay for us to say the end because it has been there has been an ending. But it's also going to shape the way that we go forward.
Yeah. So it was about 18 months ago. Our mum, Jenny, was one Friday afternoon. I received a phone call from mum's doctor saying, you need to get Jenny to the emergency department as quickly as possible. Some blood tests had come back. And I think that was probably one of the scariest moments of my life.
I vividly remember that afternoon. I vividly remember what mum was wearing. I remember the whole thing. We were dropping the kids off to youth, and we were sitting in the car park actually when you phoned and said mum needs to go to the hospital now. And my heart sank. I did not know what awaited us at all. I had no idea.
Yeah. She'd been unwell for a couple of weeks, and she'd gone to the doctor just to get blood tests, just to see if we could find anything that was going on that would explain some of the symptoms. And yeah, it certainly did. So she was diagnosed with Tash, can you pronounce it? Because my
Myeloid dysplastic syndrome.
that's the one. Well done.
And it wasn't just that simple. Mum was admitted into the hospital, and she was going onto a ward that was obviously the cancer ward. And we had never been, I mean, we'd visited people that we'd loved in the cancer ward before, but we had never had somebody as close as, immediate family in there. And I remember Dame us sitting with Mum when they came in, and they started to talk with her about what they'd found, about what they thought this would be. And
I remember things just racing. It was sort of all happening so fast and almost like a drowning feeling.
yeah, I remember that as well. And I remember Mum just being so resolute and brave throughout the entire process. And myelodysplastic syndrome is something that can progress into acute myeloid leukemia, which is what did happen with Mum. There's different treatment options. There's different ways that it can be treated. All different sorts of things. Based on Mum's age, fitness, weight, all kinds of issues. We went down the treatment pathway that was recommended for her, and 4 grueling rounds of chemotherapy, terrible
And
reactions.
when you say 4 grueling rounds of chemotherapy, I think nearly each one ended up with Mum having a case of pneumonia after it, or was close to nearly everyone.
Yeah.
And then which meant a hospital admission for, sometimes up to 3 weeks.
The longest admission was 3 weeks. So I think it was 22 days or 23 days to be precise. What's a day or two here or there? But basically, I suppose what happened through that process is both you and I have had things that have been sitting in the background of our own bariatric journeys that needed to be addressed. Your reflux, my candy cane syndrome, all the other things that needed
Yeah.
to be addressed, which went firmly onto the back burner because we just couldn't do it. Mum was at the forefront of our thinking, and she was going to the cancer centre at least twice a week to receive blood, like blood products, when she wasn't having treatment, as well as when she was having treatment, it was daily to the cancer centre.
Yeah.
There was backwardsing and forwardsing that was happening. There was arranging work schedules around that. There was so much busyness in that time that we both I know I just went into survival mode and was just trying to get through it somehow.
Yeah. Because, I mean, I think for me, I know I had a sense of grief from that early moment.
Yeah, me too.
And that's something that I wanted to talk about is dealing with and going through grief after having your weight loss surgery. Because for me, once upon a time, that would have gone hand in hand with food
Oh, yeah.
and what I was eating.
And it's really been one of those strange experiences for me because I've not been triggered to the point of wanting to eat for a long time, like not that overwhelming food noise like what I experienced when Mum was first diagnosed. I've not had it at that level probably since prior to my surgery.
Yeah.
So it just said to me how much the stress and how much the anxiety played into that. I mean, the only other time that I've had grief since my weight loss surgery that was remotely similar, I actually ended up in hospital with broken heart syndrome
Yeah.
and had to be sedated for a week because my heart wouldn't behave itself. So I was concerned that could happen again, but also very overwhelmed with the food noise. And we can practice all of these things. We can practice, and I have for years practiced mindfulness, practiced thinking about what am I actually feeling, being present in my body, allowing myself to feel the emotions and reminding myself of the fact that food is not going to help me. to feel like it might make me momentarily feel better because I'm craving that dopamine fix,
Yeah.
but ultimately it won't make me feel better in the long run. But fuck that. Like, actually, because all I wanted to do was comfort myself.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. I mean, you know, driving home from treatments, quite often mum would ask if she could have a sneaky cheeseburger or a slushy or something, you know. So for me it was like, um if I was on driving duty, going through Macca's, and I was like, you know what? That chocolate sundae looks really good right now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, mum used to do the same with me. She'd ask me if we could go through Macca's for a small smackerel of something. And I'd get her whatever, and obviously because of the celiac disease, I wouldn't get something, but I do remember I remember very vividly, and I think you were with us that day. There was a day where I was just so overwhelmed by everything that we diverted, like we went through Macca's, and then we went along Packington Street to a health food shop that I love, and we got these dehydrated strawberries that are covered in chocolate.
Yeah. And
Mm,
weren't they so good?
they were they were
They
amazing.
were actually comforting.
I was comforted. I was comforted at the time. And
This
I
is
and
something that I it's okay.
yeah, and I realized in this period of time, what I think I realized, what I know I realized, is that I can now stop,
Yeah.
which I never would have done prior to my surgery. I didn't have an off button. I had a bottomless pit that I would feed. And it was about my trauma, and it was about anxiety, and it was about just a genuine love of food. It was about all of those things combined that created this perfect storm in me. And now what I've realized is even when the storm is raging, I do actually seem to be able to find the off button, which
Yeah.
which does bring me a degree of comfort, because there was a time when I really doubted that even weight loss surgery would give me that.
Yeah. And I think I know for me, I sort of thought that like having surgery, I just can't do that anymore. Or, you know, I'm going to wreck everything. But I think what it's taught me is that I can stop. I can have something that isn't on my everyday plan, and that's okay. Um, we're still allowed to live even though we've had weight loss surgery.
Mm,
But isn't it amazing you get people that have opinions on what we do?
yeah.
And it's like, you know, I'm living my life. I'm living this one life that I have. And if I want to have a dehydrated strawberry covered in chocolate, then I'm fucking well going to.
Yeah, that's right. Because when you're sitting with your mother who is just looking at you saying, I don't want to die. I don't want to die, who has been given a horrific diagnosis and a prognosis that was devastating. You cope the best way that you can. And I I regret nothing about any of the things that we did during that time. And I think that's another thing that's changed in me. I used to punish myself in my mind for turning to food. I used to punish myself. I used to be cruel to myself, speak the most horrible things to myself. You know, you're worthless. You can't control yourself. You're such a loser. You're all, I that was my
Yeah.
inner monologue. That's what it was doing. Look at you, you're huge, but you can't stop. You're disgusting. Like these are all of the things that I used to think about myself. And when I was having the strawberries that day, I just remember thinking, I'm gonna have one and a half of these strawberries, because if I have any more than that, I'm going to dump and then I'll feel bad. But I'm gonna have one and a half of these strawberries. I'm going to be okay. And I don't need to hate myself for this. This is a nice memory to have with mum. It's not about doing anything wrong or bad. It's about enjoying something with my mum, a nice memory. And
Yeah.
food can be part of that.
Yeah. 100%. I think We tend to, I know I do, and go to extremes.
Mm.
And I would always go to the extreme of, I'd devour whatever I could get my hands on and chase the cook as well.
Yeah.
Um, to, to, oh, I can't have anything that even remotely resembles joy
Yeah.
just because I want to have it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so in all of this, that's been going on, because I think I started grieving when mum was diagnosed, and when she finally did die, I was just so profoundly relieved that she was no longer in pain.
Yeah.
And I nearly felt guilty because I was relieved that she was no longer in pain.
Now I have guilt.
Yeah, exactly. Now I had guilt. And then the one thing that she really used to love doing was going and having fish and chips. That was her favorite thing. And after her funeral, we went and did that. We went and had fish and chips at her favorite fish and chip place. And I remember sitting back, eating chips, thinking nothing bad's gonna happen. You can do this and it's okay.
Yeah, that's right. And uh,
It's nice to see the development and the personal growth and to be able to acknowledge it in the moment.
yeah, it is. I think that's something that never really been able to do, but I'm learning to, is allowing myself to feel those emotions.
Mm.
And I'm finding that if I do that, I don't get that emotional burst where it all just comes rushing out. And
And you just want to go.
yeah,
Mm.
I, you know, I might be feeling a bit down one day. So, we, we go and have a chat, and uh, Kim and I'll go for a walk, we'll get a coffee, and just let ourselves feel those feelings.
It's still I still get acutely uncomfortable with some of the feelings that I felt.
Yeah,
And I think it's the messy in between that I've become accustomed to that's helped during this process, because I've realized that during my bariatric journey and dealing with trauma from things long ago and things like that, that I can't force myself. I have to just do this one step at a time, but
yeah,
keep reminding myself that I'm valuable regardless of how I'm feeling in that moment. And even if I feel like I want to have a big old chunk of food or whatever it is, I'm still okay. It's still okay to, I'm still okay as a person. And I've kept bringing this back to not allowing myself to spiral down into just that really dark place that I have gone in the past, where I would just completely and totally shut down. And that's been really hard. Like,
yeah,
it's hard.
yeah. I mean, I know I've had days where I've sort of realized that I was just so angry
Oh,
for
yeah.
like no good reason other than everything that's happened. But it was nothing that sort of set me off. I just woke up like it that day.
And I mean, let's be real here. Let's be real. It's not just like, yes, mum was like critically unwell and suffered cruelly. We also had other things going on in the background that were awful and that were relentless.
Yeah,
And we've both done the best that we could do
yeah, that's right.
with all of the things that we've gone through.
And I think that's the thing. And I know there are times where I did and I still do struggle with it, is that life still goes on around it.
Mm,
No matter how I'm feeling, I
yep.
still have life going on around it. I still have a kid to get to school. I
Yeah.
have,
All of the things.
all the things, and then
Work still
work,
happens.
um, you know, and there are good days and there are bad days, like anyone has with work.
Yeah.
And
Yep. I remember this is one of the things that I'm grateful that way back when our beautiful 18-year-old was born, and he came at 27 weeks, and he was very, very obviously, you know, he was premature. He was very unwell. He was in the NICU for a long, long time. And we went through all kinds of different things with his growing up and things we were told, prognosis, all that sort of business. And we did have a death in the family 3 days after he was born as well. And I remember at that time was the first time in my life where I just I wanted I was angry. I remember being so angry. I was walking up and down the sidewalk outside the hospital, and I was angry because the world was continuing to move forward and I felt so stuck in that moment.
Yep.
I was just so mad that people were just still living and my loved one had died and my son was so unwell. And I just felt like my world was stopping, but everything was moving forward. And I was angry and hurt and resentful about it. And it took a long time for me to work through all of those emotions and process it. And when, in the last couple of weeks of mum's life, I became aware that I would likely feel like that again or could feel like that again. But I needed to start reminding myself, hey, when this does happen, you're probably going to feel blah, blah, blah. And
Yep.
what are we going to do about that? And I mean, I know I said to you one of the days where I was feeling angry, I said, I'm feeling especially spitey today
Yeah, yeah. It's so true.
because I needed to acknowledge it.
I mean, the last few weeks, so mum wanted to be at home,
Yeah, she
um,
did.
through the whole process, and we'd taken her to the hospital because she was, quite unwell, and there was the option to send her to the ICU, to send her to the palliative unit, or, uh, our local, uh public system do a palliative care in the home,
Yep.
and that's what mum wanted. So it wasn't even a question for us. Um, the palliative care team were incredible.
So
Uh,
what that actually looked like, just for those that may not know, it meant organizing a a lot of different things. A lot of different things had to be put into place, so that could happen. It required obviously hospital grade um, facilities like hospital bed being brought into the home. It required um, you know, proper toileting sort of options for mum. It required oxygen being brought into the home.
which that's a big thing that I didn't even realize until they were setting it up.
Yeah, no candles, no nothing like that.
Make sure she's not up walking if you're cooking with the gas burners on.
Yeah, yeah, a whole lot of things. Uh, it meant it meant setting up curtains in in the area where the bed was going to be so that they could be closed if needed. Um, so that, the kids didn't see anything that we didn't want them seeing. Um, it it was just a lot. Like logistically, there was a lot to think through. It
Even
also,
safe with medications was brought in. Uh,
yeah,
you know, there was a lot of things that I didn't think about, but what was amazing was that any time we rang the PAL team, they were there within half an hour.
yeah. Yeah, they were amazing. So the palliative care nurses were coming at least twice a day. Towards the end, it was 3 times a day. The doctor was kept informed of everything that was going on and came sort of every other day, didn't they?
Yeah,
So it was a lot. It was a lot to just accept that, hey, this is what's happening now, and that's how that's how it happened. That's how mum passed.
Yeah, and I think during that, I know I certainly just put all my emotions on the back burner, during those last few weeks because there was just so much going on
Mm,
and, making sure that everything was okay. We had to have someone with mum 24 hours a day.
yep.
So our whole family pulled together and we had one of us would sleep next to the bed, um,
Or not sleep next
or
to
not
the bed.
sleep, just sit and doom scroll on our
Yeah, doom
phones
scroll next to the bed.
or whatever it was. Just listening to some of her favorite music with her. Um, and it was really special, but it was also really hard.
Mm. And we copped criticism from the family, because we wanted to honour mum's wishes, and we did what she wanted. And in some ways, I can understand it, I guess, but I know that we did what she wanted, and that was really the most important thing, and it was also a profoundly hard thing to do as well. Um, so that's why over the last little bit, it's been a lot, and I've been working as well, so I just haven't been in a good space to be able to do a whole lot of podcasting. So
Yeah,
Damo's been handling that, which has been awesome. Because I did a lot of the hospital stuff, didn't I?
yeah, yeah. We all
We
played our part.
Yeah, we all had our different roles. And if any advocacy fighting for what mum wanted needed to happen, that was sort of where I jumped in. I mean, Damo's more than able to do that as well, but I jumped in and did that.
Tash has a nicer face when she's doing it than what I do.
Sometimes.
But you touched on something, um, like with people's opinions and different things. And I want to say that when we're going through grief and that whole process, there is nothing wrong with setting boundaries with people.
Yeah, absolutely.
At the very minimum, we deserve respect.
Yeah.
As a person, we all deserve respect. And if there are people that aren't doing that, aren't giving that, then it is more than okay to set a boundary with those people.
Which which is what which is what we did. And I have no regrets about any of that. Obviously, I regret that mum has died. I mean, I remember on the Thursday prior to her dying, she said, "I don't want to go to the dying hole." I said, "I know you don't like it. It's a Madagascar thing, guys." So
Yep.
she loved the cartoon movie Madagascar, and she didn't want to be like Melman and go to the dying hole.
And
Unfortunately,
mum did have a sort of darker sense of
yeah, she did have a dark sense of humor.
she was usually able to laugh at herself, um, regardless of what was going on around. She could always find something to laugh about,
Yeah,
which I think sort of shocked some of the some of the nurses that would come in, but then they would be like, "Oh, this is fantastic," because being able to find light even in um, those
a
last
very
couple of
dark
weeks
situation.
was incredible.
It was. It really was. And yeah, so when you're going through a grieving time, I think just from a practical perspective, some of the things that I had to start doing was I had to set reminders in my phone, to remind myself, take your vitamins, drink your water, and
Eat,
eat. Because I could very easily go a whole day and realize at the end of it, I've eaten nothing today. That is not good. Um, so I did end up setting myself reminders. It didn't mean that I always, was on top of it constantly. I did my very best.
yeah. And
Um,
there were times where Kim would just randomly rock up with food to the hospital if
yeah, force feed me, basically eat this, have this. Because yeah, like I can very easily, because I still don't get hunger cues as such. Even though I'm 7.5 years post gastric bypass, I don't actually have much of a sensation of being hungry. So I tend to eat more on a schedule. And if my schedule is out, if I'm doing things that I don't usually do, then eating will get forgotten. And so I've had to work out ways, I had to work out ways of managing that. So that's kind of my hot tip, is make sure that you have also things that are easy to eat, easy to have, so that you're not putting a lot of pressure or adding another thing to think about onto your plate at a time when really you probably don't have the capacity to be able to be tracking your macros or worrying about any of that. Like I didn't even care. I didn't care. I didn't track. I didn't do anything. Like for the last month, I just didn't care at all. And
Yeah.
and my last blood test showed that I didn't care as well about my protein as I should have been. Again, that's okay. It just means that I have to take a little bit more care with myself now.
Yeah. Because you do have a surgery coming up to
Yeah,
fix, finally, the
finally.
candy cane
I
syndrome.
do. And this is part, I guess, of what we've gone through, and it going over such an extended period of time, is that we did start grieving at the start of this process. And it's not that I'm not grieving still, and will be for some time. But I am already able to comfort myself with a lot of the happy memories and a lot of the happy thoughts. And I've been able to book my revision surgery, which I'm so
Yeah. How
flipping
great's that?
relieved about. So that's on the 2nd of February, 2026, with Mr. Darren Goodall Wilson, my original surgeon. Love that man. He is incredible. And
And if you are in the Geelong area looking at having weight loss surgery, um, I'd really recommend uh, checking out Mr. Goodall Wilson,
yeah,
because
you've met him, haven't you,
I've
Damo?
I've met him. I haven't had surgery with him, but I gate crashed one of Tash's appointments, and he is a very genuine, kind person. He's half the battle, honestly. For
Yeah,
me, finding, we all know what surgeons can be like, and amazing at their jobs, but Darren also has a good bedside manner.
yeah, he does. He really does. And my husband, Steve, has booked his surgery for the 22nd of December. So we're going to be having a very different Christmas. A very different Christmas, actually, because not only will we not have mum this Christmas, our dad is flying off to Fiji, which I'm very happy about. I'm happy for him. He needs to do what's best for him at
Yep.
the moment. Not that, like, mum and dad have been divorced for a long time, but they remain the very best of friends.
Yeah, which is obvious by the fact that they were both able to live under the same roof for the last 5 or 6 years.
Yeah. And they've been together, it would have been 50 years
Yeah,
on the 23rd of, like, that. The 23rd of August would have been their wedding anniversary, and it would have been 50 years. That's a long, long, long time.
yeah,
Long time together.
yeah.
So
So it is gonna be a different Christmas, but
yeah,
you know
so
what? I'm
we
I'm
won't have
looking
dad
forward
around.
to.
We won't have mum around. Steve won't be eating, which will be very odd,
Right.
because I think for all of the rest of us, because all of the other adults, like the parents in the family, have all had bariatric surgery except for Steve up until now. So we could all kind of live
He
vicariously through Steve.
he was our consistent, our, you
Yeah.
know, he was just. And, so I think that's gonna be strange not seeing Steve be able to eat at all.
Yeah, so he'll be on clear
He gets
fluid.
out Christmas Eve, doesn't he, out of hospital, or that.
Yeah, he gets out on Christmas Eve. Now, normally on Christmas Eve, we have our hot chocolate party, and Steve is normally in charge of that. So,
And the kids, actually, that was one of the questions that one of my nephews, said when he first heard that his uncle Steve wouldn't be out until Christmas Eve was if he would still get his Uncle Steve's hot chocolate.
That's
Um,
right.
and I believe that Uncle Steve is still planning on doing that.
Uncle Steve is still planning on doing that. All he has to do is stand there and stir. But
Yes.
we can even amend the standing to sitting. You can
And
just
we even have a special song that gets played during it.
We do. We have a special song. It's very exciting. Normally Auntie Tash runs around like a crazy.
And we'll watch the Christmas carols
Yep.
and have a really nice Christmas Eve.
And there will be absolutely zero concern about the fact that it'll be hot chocolate. It will not be noshu chocolate. It will not be no sugar. It will be sugar. There'll be sugar. There will be sugar.
Cadbury's.
And there'll be cream and there'll be laughs. And we'll remember and have a great time. And then we will worry about all of the rest of it after Christmas.
That's right.
Which
Unless I have
brings,
too much and start dumping.
yeah, and we will also try to avoid that. You know, the one thing that I do get sad about, and this is something that kind of emerged when we moved to Geelong. We'd sort of always really had Christmas, like the traditional plum pudding, which Steve hated, and like lemon meringue pie when we lived up on the Sunshine Coast. But when we moved to Geelong, Steve kind of slipped his love of pavlova, which is something from his dad, into the mix. And so now we kind of have like the plum pudding and the pavlova crew, don't we? Like the
Yeah, we
plum
do.
pudding crew and the pavlova crew.
We do. Which I haven't actually been able to have any of it in years
Years, yeah.
because of the reflux.
Yeah.
Um, and this will be another year where I can't have anything
But
because of
hopefully by
reflux.
next year you'll be having your revision.
Yeah, I actually got my first appointment
Brilliant.
for the 4th of December.
That's so exciting.
So
My goodness.
I see the so I decided to book in or try and book in with the Austin in
Yep.
Melbourne to get my reflux fixed and have revision. And wow, I couldn't. So my GP sent the referral off late last week. And
Mm.
I got a text message yesterday with my first appointment to see the endocrinologist at the Austin so that we can get my type 2 diabetes better controlled before we look at surgery, which is just going to help for healing. So I'm really looking forward to that, to getting my health back to where I want it to
Yeah.
be.
And these are the I I know for people listening in, you might even be over listening to us talking about revisions and things like that. But look, honestly, we're over it too. We really are. We just want to be able to have these things done and then progress on with advocacy and with continuing to support people that are going down a bariatric journey. They're the things that we're passionate about. But the reason that all of these things have been on hold and we've been in this holding pattern is because our mum was dying.
Yeah,
And we had to be there for her. Not because we had to be, but because we wanted to be out of love. She was an incredible woman.
yeah. She she supported us without question,
Yep.
regardless of whether we were right or wrong growing up. She supported us, and so it was a choice that we made, um, to be there every step of her journey, and we did it without regret, even
Yep.
though there were times where it was hard. It was hard watching.
Yeah, I mean there were things that mum, and let's be real, no one is perfect, and we did not have a perfect mum, and there were things that she asked of us that were difficult, and still no regrets.
Yeah,
Like no regrets that we've done the things that we've done. I'm really glad, but I'm also excited for what is to come. And we're looking forward to taking you guys along for the ride.
Yeah. So, guys, in closing, I just want to say, you know, grief, it can happen to all of us, and there are ways to deal with it. And just, I guess, recapping what we've gone through is allowing ourselves to feel it. I
Yep.
think that is really important. We don't have to just suppress grief. It's not weak to talk about it.
Yep.
Uh,
Reach out to your peers.
your
Reach
peers,
out, reach out to your support network. Get yourself in to see a psychologist. There are places that you can access, a certain amount of appointments, using a mental health care plan. There's all different kinds of ways to support yourself when it comes to and access help when it comes to dealing with grief. Please do that. Don't ever put yourself in the space where you feel isolated and alone and trapped, because it's in that place where the anxiety grows.
yeah,
So reaching out to your support network, talk to your psychologist. If you don't have a psychologist, go and see your GP and tell them what's happening. Don't just sit there feeling powerless. You're not powerless. You are only ever one choice away from absolutely changing your life. And even in a grief journey, you can make those really brave and bold decisions to go, okay, well, this might be how I used to do this, but I'm not going to do it this way. I want a different outcome. So I'm going to reach out. I'm going to access support. I'm going to be mindful. I'm going to think about the things that really matter and how I'm going to achieve them.
yeah, 100%. Guys, journaling is such a powerful tool, and it helps. Yeah, if you get to the point where, yeah, I'm going to see a psychologist about this, you can take your journal along, and go through that sort of stuff. Also, things like mindfulness. Mentioned mindfulness uh, early on in this podcast. That is amazing, and it's something that I never really did until I started with my chronic pain journey, and you know what, it helps me get through so many things. Music is fantastic. If you're sort of that way inclined, load up your Spotify with some inspirational music.
Get your
Gentle,
creative outlets going.
yeah,
Maybe craft is good for you. I know for me, since mum has passed, like, my house has had a Christmas explosion, and I don't even care that it's not December yet. If you are a Grinch, I love you anyway. It's okay. We'll be okay. The fact that my house has 3 Christmas trees, it's okay. Like, get your creativity out. Do the things that bring you joy. Focus on them. I know it's hard. It is hard, but we just have to keep reminding ourselves of the reasons why we keep going.
yeah, 100%. And remember to set those
Yeah,
boundaries.
100% on that.
Um, you know, we can protect our own peace, and I think it's important to take that power and do it.
Yep.
Guys, thank you so much for joining us today. This has been a bit of an emotional one, and I do want to say that if you've listened to it and you are feeling triggered by it, or that, yeah, maybe I do need to talk about it, we can even provide a list of some psychologists that.
I think that we'll just do that in the caption of this podcast, Damo. I think it's just a wise thing to do. So, go to the caption, guys, and even let us know if you'd like to reach out and chat. You can always find us in Bariatric Support Australia on Facebook. We're more than happy to chat.
Or on Instagram.
We're on Instagram as well. We would love to connect with you there. We're really wanting to grow our Instagram community and our Facebook community as well. So they're just some peer resources, but obviously, those professional resources, we'll list those out for you too.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us, guys.
We'll talk to you soon.